Hello and welcome to Optional Rule. My name is Scott. I'm the host of this weekly show for D&D Prep, talking about all things gaming and tabletop role-playing games, prep and how to run them, and and everything else, just with a focus on getting you to run your own games as well. So thank you, welcome you for joining me here. I appreciate it. So today we're going to have a pretty chill day where I'm going to talk a little bit about game design. I have an upcoming part of my Rime and the Frostmaiden game that I need to set up and update in Foundry Virtual Tabletop, which is the tabletop I use. I'm in the middle of updating it now. I did a brave thing, and it's working so far. I did a system update just before the show started, which seems to be working. I had to update the underlying server dependencies and get the game system updated. And actually, I'll switch over to now so you can see some of the back end. I was looking up how to update Node. So the underlying 5th edition system update was done. I think it's all good. I'm going to update my modules again. So this is the admin interface if you've never run Foundry VTT. It's an upcoming popular virtual tabletop. Roll20 is obviously the grill in the room. That's the one people often use. Foundry is an independent one that you can run on your own. I like it a little bit better because it's a buy once option. That said, I've gotten a little disillusioned with Foundry, and not just Foundry, with all virtual tabletops. Actually, Foundry is great. It's just the paradigm of virtual tabletops themselves, and I'll talk a little bit about that today. I'd love to hear any experience you have with virtual tabletops. I'm becoming a bigger fan of less is more. Owl Bear Rodeo is something that people talk about a lot. That's just basically a map, an online shareable map, and it doesn't try to do any of the system stuff. And that's become more, just more, I don't know, attractive for me. What I'm doing is I'm editing my world to the splash screen. So we're in June, but I haven't updated it in a little while. We play on Thursday nights. I put a little stuff, a Zoom link and all that stuff. This is actually not relevant anymore, so I'm going to take that out. So I'm going to update this and launch the world itself. Launching the world will migrate the data model. Okay, so it's migrating the data model. So this is one of the, 20 out of 24 installed modules, which may not be out. Well, we'll find out in a second if it works or not. This is one of the, one of my problems with with Foundry specifically is that it is a great system, but there are tons of modules. I lack server administrator permissions to submit this request. Nothing was done. No software update is currently. What happened to me? All right. So anyway, this is a self-hosted module on Amazon. I run it on Amazon Mini Service. It costs me about $10 a month. So for the cost, it's not worth it because it's a big pain in the butt. Now I'm a software engineer. I know how to do. I'm comfortable with technology. That said, it doesn't take a high level of technical skills to set up your own server, but it kind of does. There's servers you can rent. Let's look at these add-on modules. Now here's my biggest problem with Foundry, which again, I think it's great, but all of these modules are things that I have set up one way or another to make the system more playable, less fog, so it's not as foggy, better rolls, which is really, the dice rolling mechanic is really crappy in Foundry, which is one of the most curious features of it, integration with D&D Beyond, all of this stuff. There's a ton of modules, and there is this dependency hell that you get into, which are all these modules need to be updated to. You're at the mercy of the people who have created these modules to update them in the first place, and that itself is enough to sort of. I just don't think it's it's great once you get it set up and going, but it creates so much work. How much work do you want to put into this versus actually setting your game up? So I think that's my first piece of feedback. It's good enough, but and it's a great tabletop, but. And I actually prefer it to Roll20, but I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. And then there's just a fragmentation of I'm on D&D Beyond, I'm on virtual tabletops of one kind or another, Roll20 or Foundry. I can access material in one place but not another. Now that's not anybody's fault. I mean, it's these aren't run by wizards, but it's just frustrating, and it's a barrier to running games for a lot of people, including me. So I was excited in the survey that came out this week. I'm going to go ahead and start this actually up. Hopefully this will start. Oh, no. Uh-oh. I may not be able to launch this world, so we may not be doing any Foundry stuff today. So therein lies the problem. Like there's some version that is updated that and the server permission I'm getting is it's trying to use some what would be called a super user do, like some super user permission. It needs to do something on the server side, but it clearly is unable to do that. And my server is not even responding now, so the whole thing might have just crashed, which I have to admit would be like super frustrating. Yeah, this is my Amazon console. For some reason, the instance is stopped. Make sure that's actually true. Sometimes this does not refresh. Yeah, it's updated. It's running. But let's see if it actually responds. I don't know why this is not responding to me, and it's very frustrating. So yeah, I mean, this is tier 1 problem with VTTs is the content's not accessible. It takes a lot of work on your part to get it set up and running. Again, I'm somebody extremely comfortable, but I try to fit my game prep into like an hour a week, and that's it. So server management, importing content, writing ports of creatures into VTTs, these all get super dicey. I'm going to restart the server and see if that fixes the problem. It may not, and if it does, we just won't do VTT stuff today. And we have plenty of game prep, so that's not a problem. So I'm going to stop this instance. I'll just reboot it actually, and see if it works. Okay, Foundry tabletop. Monkey Works at Owlbear Rodeo if you need simple table. So you must have just joined us. I was saying that. So I am disillusioned with virtual tabletops of all kinds, actually. I think that they're crap, to be honest. They just take too much work. I'm a fan of Owlbear Rodeo, but herein lies, so let's talk about the player issues as game masters getting into it. I have played this game, run this game, since September of last year, so we're about 10 months into it. The players themselves have become too dependent on the virtual tabletop. Yeah, the whole server's crashed, and I'm going to have to do a reinstall of this. So let's go to let's take a look at it. Owlbear Rodeo. It's a free service. You don't have to sign for anything. You just start a game. You create a game password if you want. I'll call it optional rule. So you can actually sign in if you want. So I might start something in here, but when you want to add a map, you just go ahead and select a map. You can choose from here. I don't know so it just creates a basic default tabletop. I think you can upload your own file as well. So if we just had grasslands or caves or something like that, we'll just select that. You can do some drawing tools, and that's how it works. You can draw your cave, you can draw your battle map. Get this going in some kind of way and let the players move their figures around here. Now, so where was I going? Why am I stuck with Foundry Virtual Tabletop? Let's see if this is actually running. Yeah, it says it's running. I'm going to go try reloading it. Let's see if it responds. Oh, it does respond. Okay, good. So yeah, launching world. So it does work. I don't know what's going on here. So yeah, we'll get into this in a second. So what is my problem? My problem is that the players become too dependent on it. I would love to just use Foundry. Owlbear Rodeo will let me just upload a map. It doesn't have to worry about game rules, dice, virtual dice, anything like that. But what I don't like about it is the players have just become too dependent on it. As a matter of fact, I'll actually leave my chat window up to show a bit about that. The players are just, unless the system does it I'd probably just mess my screen up. 1 second. Yeah, I'm probably cut off a little bit there. So the players have become too dependent on where do I click on the interface instead of just like literally stuff we've been doing for decades as gamers, like rolling dice. Like I've just said, okay, because we had so much trouble with dice in a previous session that I got to the point where it's like, listen, we all know each other enough. Let's just roll and tell us what the results are. And people have just lost their mind. They can't roll a die and add a number to it anymore. And I blame the VTT for that. A lot of them can't find their dice. So that level of abdicating responsibility to an app, it's always driven me crazy about technology. The moment you get technology in the mix, people just stop thinking for themselves. They want the app to do it. They don't want to, have to think. And that's not my players. That's everybody. That's a real problem with technology. And in gaming, when the premise is that you're supposed to be updating it yourself, and keeping track of your own system and your own character, that is a problem. Now, I'll give you one example down here. You probably can't read it, but there's a little card when you have an ability. Let me pull up some player characters to show you how this works. So I'll just bring up Rias here. So when they have an ability and they want to use a feature, let's say, let's go over chat so we can kind of visualize it. Let's say they want to use their defined sense. That's great and all, but they can use that one time. Let's see. There's something here where the character is constantly doing it. And I want, first of all, that they're not keeping track, even with the tool doing it, they're not keeping track of how many hit points they've healed, because I know they healed last session, and this says that they have everything left, and they're just not clicking their options here. So that's frustrating. Let's go over to Spellbook here and see if we can do something with that. Anyway, what you see here, I don't actually know it since I'm a player, so that's another first tier problem. The game master doesn't see what the players see, so I have to lead them through and do tech support for them by guessing what it is they see it. And if you're like me, who basically I've only ever run in Foundry, I've never played, I don't actually know what their experience is like. This is a problem, right? This is a huge problem. That's just That's just a huge problem. So here's what they do. So they'll cast a spell, and I'll ask them what it does. So I gave you an example. They cast it, pops it up in the window. That's neat and all, but I'll usually do something like say, hey, what does your spell do? They don't read or know their own ability. They just drop it in a window for me to read. And I try as hard as I can not to be frustrated by that, but I'm not. I could read it if I wanted to. I'm asking them to know their abilities, and they just abdicate their responsibility. And again, this is no dig on my players here. My players are great. This is a problem with VTT because I've seen this happen in multiple groups, in multiple sessions. Yeah, I don't see it happen in stream game because I think the game master gets a little irate about that, and they should. But listen, I'm asking you to know your abilities and just tell me, oh, I heal for 2d8 or I heal for 1d8 or whatever. And don't ask me to know it for you. And for some reason in VTT, this happens again and again and again and again. And it really, really drives me crazy. And in my opinion, it is the tool set that is doing that, not the players. So having something like Owlbear Radio where you just have a map, they're just moving some tokens around. And that's even if you need it. A lot of times you can just use Theater of the Mind. It's really rough. Monkeywork says 5e comes in as overly complicated as well at high level. Yeah, that's very true. Owlbear for me has worked great as an addition to old school revival games plus Theater of the Mind. Yeah, I would agree. I think there's a couple things missing. So I wish there was a better middle spot. So dice. If you know how dice can work in Owlbear Rodeo, please let me know. But I do like I do miss dice. I wish dice were rollable. That's the one thing I actually of everything. That's the thing I like most in Foundry. Like, so if I have a map here, I have a map from our last fight with a vampire. If I roll d20, I get this super cool fast result. That's a 1. You can see it was a 1, but I can roll anything and I get like roll 10d6, and I just like this is as close as I've ever seen. The speed is good. Dice does work in Owlbear. Click the little dice tray icon, so that'd be great. I want to see a comparison here. Dice tray icon, where is that? I don't know this system very well, so this is my fault, not Owlbear's fault, by the way. Me not knowing where icons are is not my fault. Note tool. Is that a dice tray? Shared audio. Oh, this is a shared audio. I didn't know that. Start timer. That's cool. I don't know what this is. Show dice tray. There we go. I had no idea. Oh, I don't like this at all, though. This is terrible. First of all, way too slow. You can probably speed it up. Yeah, this is terrible. Yeah. I like to see it across the screen. Check out, so yeah, look at it in top left. Yeah, so this is okay. I still sort of wish this was, I don't know. Oh, it's cool. They have different dice. That's cool. I don't know how to clear the dice and, I don't know, roll them all again. That's cool. So that's a little faster. I appreciate that. Actually, that's decent. So it does have dice. I like to see dice together. That's the one piece I miss about having players roll on their desk at home in a VTT. I like the anticipation of what's the next dice roll going to be and looking at it and having that moment that you get at the table when everyone's looking at everybody roll a dice and they can see it's a 20 or 1 or whatever. I miss that, and amongst number of things from in-person play, but in a VTT, I like that. It's something you can recreate, and I would like to do that now. So anyway, so lots of problems. This is going to seem like a giant bitch fest. It is not. Trust me, it's not Foundry's problem. Foundry is a great system, but it's just the tracking multiple systems across multiple, information across multiple systems. It's just a little too hard for me, and I'm really not a big fan of it. So scenes. So I have tons of scenes. I've been running Rime and the Frostmaiden. There had been a plugin which led me import content from D&D Beyond, which was really cool. But the guy was charging me $5 a month for his Patreon to enable that feature. And it frustrated me to pay $5 a month for content that I already own, and not even to the person who created the virtual tabletop. It's just for the plugin. So it's just frustrating, and I didn't appreciate it. So and plus he was not updating and maintaining his plugin well. So I just let that go. But that leaves me having to manually import everything. And I'm actually going to go through that process today to show you what that's like. Now, I'm sure somebody's going to come up and say there's some other plugin. I've looked for them and I can't find them. So I'm just going to do that today. First thing I need to do, where they are in the Cave of the Berserkers. So I have this. I don't think I have this. Let me see if I have it imported already. This is Icewind Dale, Chapter 2. Nothing's in there. Is that true? Places of interest. Here we go. Cave of Berserkers. Let me put this on navigation. It is in here. I don't have to import it. So I imported it wisely a long time ago. All right. So this is the cave that they're coming in. Now in the module Rime and the Frostmaiden, they are facing these things called Chartland Berserkers in a cave, and it was just a straight up go to this cave, fight these monsters. They can't go below 1 hit point, and then there's just this, if you can see it, a sort of brazier right here they have to put out. I've expanded this so there's a big gathering of the Reghead warrior tribes outside the cave to discuss the future political direction of the Reghead warriors, and the players have gotten all involved in that, but they're about to go. So I need to get this into this cave to recapture the flame. I'm not going to get into the entire background. It's probably not important, but let's set this up in VTT. First, walls and fog. So most people use fog. I do like to use it as well, but you have to set it up a little bit. So let's go through. It's going to be a bit boring here. I know I'm not going to discuss a ton of game theory. I'm literally just going to show you what it takes to set things up in Foundry VTT. And I block my face again. I gotta stop doing that. All right. I get to the point where I forget I'm on camera, and then I just set things up. So let's do it from here. So what you need to do is draw sort of these polylines around it. And I forget even tile control, drawing tools. I don't need wall. I need walls is what I need. Which one of these is walls? See, this is a first order problem of tile controls, drawing tools, wall tools. Here we go. There are no walls on here at all. So draw walls. So you want to leave players a place to come in, and so to just draw walls around here, it's pretty easy. If you have to hold down control because they come in as multiple segments, but you literally just draw around the entrances and all the places the players are going to go to block their vision. So it gives them the simulation of what they're seeing on what their characters are seeing. It's okay. It's a decent feature. I don't actually know you need it, but I say that and I do it every time, right? I like the almost progressive exploration nature of the whole thing, where players can physically move their characters through the dungeon. They can see what they see. I can put items on the map, and I like it, but it takes a lot of work is a relative term, but so I have to sit here if I want to sort of have the map of any sort of fidelity. I have to do this all myself. Used to be on the import you would get this, but again, it's not really available. That does lead me to think that so if you filled out the Wizards of the Coast survey, you've probably seen they had a survey this month. If you go to the official D&D site, there was a player survey. In it, you got different opinions on what you would like to see or not see in D&D. A lot of people, including me, got a video preview of some digital tools coming out, official digital tools coming out from Wizards of the Coast. Now, it looks like they are aiming to have like a fully online D&D virtual tabletop game system. That I love it and I hate it for so many different reasons. So first, love, right? Why do I love it? I think good digital tool sets are absolutely a necessity. There are too many people who live in remote places or can't find play groups, or COVID was an object lesson for everybody, and the need to be able to do things at a distance. Although hopefully that's passing for all of us soon. We're getting back to face-to-face games. But still, we need digital tools, character sheets, virtual tabletop, all that stuff. So it looks like that's coming out. So I like that. Love it. The downside, though, I try not to be a sourpuss about it, but I sometimes end up that way because I'm an old man. The downside, so I'll get to monkey work. Let me get to your thing in 1 second. The downside is that they've been promising us digital tools for, I don't know, since third edition. I remember 2000, they coming out with this big promise of digital tool sets where you can create your maps and do all kinds of things. And I was super, super disappointed when they didn't come up with that. There we go. Update. All right. And I was super, super disappointed when they didn't do it. It was very frustrating. And and ever since, the Wizard of the Coast has never shown themselves to have an understanding of technology, apps. They've always outsourced it when they've tried to do things like they can't even run their own forums. So what's the chance that they're suddenly going to be able to run an online VTT and digital asset? I don't think they have that in-house talent. I don't think that they have that business planning. Being in IT, I can tell you, everyone just thinks that they're going to make an app, but technologists, IT professionals are, one, not cheap, but two, they're a profession, they're a whole field, and people just, they think they're going to use them like some kind of weird glove where they're just going to get people to write the elegance of their thoughts into code. And a lot of times they're just unreasonable. They don't understand the art of the possible. They back themselves into a corner and the whole thing just breaks down. So the company not having shown that they can do digital assets well on their own make me kind of doubtful that this is doable. That's one. And two, I don't have to buy all my crap again. I already own stuff in D&D Beyond. Now I'm going to buy it again from Wizards. And if they decide next month or next year that this was a mistake and they want to get out of the digital game, are we dead in the water? Do I lose access to all my stuff? So I don't like that thought, and so I just don't appreciate it. All right, let me show you what Vision looks like from a player character's point of view. So I just laid down all these walls. What we have here is a player character with that Vision icon. This is what they see. So if they move through, it updates. They can't move through a wall. It updates. I have to do that inner wall too. I just realized. It updates what they see. It does a lot of great stuff. For some reason, they got stuck in there. The game master would have to move them. That's a bug. So yeah, it's a neat feature, but I don't know. Who cares, right? Monkeywork says, I would totally never suggest you look at the plutonium module that would link a site like 5e tools that has Wizards of the Coast content available for free, because that would be bad. But if you were to look at it, you'd be able to import adventures without issue. That's its. I don't piracy's not good. Don't do piracy. However, if you legit own the material, I don't see anything wrong with doing that. If you already own it, if you're using material you have ownership of, and there's an import thing out there, I don't see the problem. Wizards of the Coast, I bet you even the Wizards of the Coast staff are like, listen, if you own it, cool. But they don't want to open themselves up to to lots of to the debate and everyone playing cute around it and things like that. So I'll take a look to see what that is. I don't know what that is, but I have occasionally downloaded a PDF for material that I already owned that I didn't have access to at the moment or something like that. I'm usually pretty stickler about that. I used to work in libraries, so I take copyright pretty seriously. I'm a little anal about it. But so I certainly don't suggest pirating. But if you own the material, use what tools you have available and make your life easy. All right, so I need to go back to drawing this wall. You can see these lines come up. I need to draw it around here. So this is a separate wall. So let me start a new one and hit Control one more time. So, just in general, VTTs raise your prep time. I would say minimum double your prep time, because I haven't even imported the monsters yet. That you don't have to do too much of. I will say there's a Chrome plugin called Beyond 20. Is that it? Which is a bridge to, I'll come up with a second. It's a bridge to D&D Beyond, which I have. It lets you do things like when you roll in D&D Beyond, you can, transfer the roll over the virtual tabletop. So actually, I turned it off. I'll show you why I turned it off. Whenever I try to capture a screenshot of monsters, that's the next thing I have to do, go to Charterland Berserker. So you see I've got this map now imported. I've got the player's version of it in. I've got to have some White Dragon Wormlings in there, and I've got to have some Charlin Berserkers. I don't know if I have them or not. So you get this nice character card, which is awesome and I love. But when I go in and I manage extensions and I activate Beyond 20, that's it. That's just, you can Google for it. And then I go back and you can see now I have all of these little buttons that a JavaScript thing have added in for me. And when I'm trying to take a screenshot, I don't want that there, and it's a big problem for me. So that's why I go back and forth with deactivating it. There are some nice features, though, now that this is activated. Let me pin it to my bar. Once I have the VTT up, if I click on it, it does activate it in Foundry. And and you can see this little D&D Beyond thing down here, or this Beyond 20 thing down here. I can now transfer roles over. So if I select roll here, it will actually throw the dice over here and give me the result. So that's cool. Again, that's an extension. That's a third-party extension, but it's cool. So you don't actually need to have the full monsters over in Foundry, which is where I'm going with this. But you need to have a token out there, and the two things that it would help to have in the midst of this is the ability to track hit points and tokens for the monsters in the tabletop. So I am going to see. I don't think I have Berserkers, but I am going to see if I have them. Nope, I don't. Barbarians. See if I have Barbarians. Nope, no Barbarians. All right. So the easiest way to do this, I have found anyway, is to look in D&D Beyond Monsters. Let me see. Nope, I have nothing there. Let's see if my D&D Beyond Monsters. These are the things I've imported that go into a compendium. That is also not there. Or the other thing I connect is I have this VTT assets, which used to be, this is that module where the guy keeps changing, like installing is getting to be a nightmare. The guy keeps changing his server. It's not responding right now. It's just a nightmare. But you used to be able to import things, and now that's just for some reason has gotten to where it's not here anymore, or it's not working for me. Yeah, it's not even working anymore. So that's why this plugin hell is just a big pain in the butt, and it's one of the reasons I've become so disillusioned with virtual tabletops. All right, so let's go and see if I have some. So the easiest thing to do. So if you are if you're just struggling how to get something set up, let's see, Bandit. Let me see. Is there a warrior? Tribal warrior. I'm going to get the tribal warrior template out here. I am going to. So they should now be imported. Yeah, they import entry. There we go. I'm importing it. So I'm going to get this tribal warrior entry that's already been imported once. I don't need to do it twice. If I can delete it. Delete it. I am going to rename these. I'm going to duplicate it first. So duplicate, and I am going to rename it to Charlin Berserker. And I'm just going to edit it and get its stats set up so that I don't have to continue to. You have to change your name here. It doesn't do it for you, Chard. All right, update token. All right, so what I want to do here is create a. Basically take the stats from this guy right here and put him in. All I really need out of this, since I'm going to use D&D Beyond to make my rolls, are their hit points. So I'm going to move. I'm trying to think if that's what I really want to do or not. That's what the pause is. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and hopefully this doesn't mess up my desktop. I'm going to move Charlton Berserker over to another window. Hopefully that didn't mess you up. Yep. All right, and I'm going to edit them. So I am going to, because I can't show two windows very easily here. I apologize for that. I'm going to head and show you what editing a creature is, because I want to just give you an idea. So first of all, they all have hide armor on. So they're armor class 13. They have 90 hit points. They are 12d8, d8 plus d8 plus 36. Now what that does for you is if you have it set, which I do because I've never bothered to unset it, it rolls the hit points randomly for these creatures every time you put them out on the table, which you'll see in a second. So if I close this, if I put out, no, it didn't do it. It used to roll there. I must have turned the setting off. Anyway, or their plug-in turned it off. But anyway, they used to roll their hit points randomly. Let's go back to editing them. So I need their strength 16. And I forget. Yep, they do update their strength. Their dex 12. They are con 17. They are intelligence 9. Oop. They shouldn't make tribal warriors dumb. That's dumb. And 9 charisma. They this is really where you can sort of stop. They because what you really want out of this is the ability to select their token and make them do a save without and adjust their hit points. Those are really the things you need to keep track of. You don't need to do a whole lot more. So what I'm doing here is I also need to see if I have white dragon wormlings. What is it? Worm. Do I have any dragons? No dragons at all. So let me go back to the compendium and see if I can get white dragon. White dragon. Too many. White dragon wormling. Perfect. All right. These are now updated. So as soon as you put it out on the board, it should be imported for me. So it is imported over here. So you can see Charlton Berserker, White Dragon. I don't need to rename that because that is exactly what I need. So these are the creatures that are placed in the oh, this is too big. What's going on here? This token is image 1-1. Yeah, that token is too big for it, but that's okay. So the each square is actually 10 feet. So the dragon is, I guess, hanging out, doing its dragon thing. So what I need to do is figure out, so all these stats should be relevant. Click here. Yep, 32 hit points. 32. Yep, so it looks like the stats are good. All right, so I don't need to do a lot to this other than just pull a few out. So what I like to do is when I get into the map itself, I just go ahead and put creatures out that are supposed to be there out on the map. So let's start to do it. You're not going to be able to see the map that I'm putting out on, but I'm just going to start. This lets me know, you know, is somebody listening? Are they close enough to hear? Can they see from where they are? All those kinds of things. That's a nice thing with virtual tabletop. So what I do is put them out and then hide them. So let's go through that really quickly. So the icy path Q1, that's this path right up here that has nobody on it. Q2 is the bear. This is a sort of a steel bear's head. There are 2 white dragon wormlings in the area Q4. So I already know that's down here. So these are already here. So they're hanging out, chomping on stuff. One makes its way through to Q3. So there's a portico here. I could put a little barrier that keeps players from going into it, but I'm not going to bother doing that. All right, so I do know these are here, so let me go ahead and hide them. I'll select them and hide them. So you can see they sort of vanish a little bit. That is, so if a player were to come in and look into that room, they would not see them unless I revealed them. And sometimes you drag players around the map and they get to see things. So hiding creatures ahead of time is a pretty useful skill. Q3. So yes, this module is rough written because it mentions monsters in a number of cases. So Q3, it mentions these dragons again, but it's just referencing them that they're down there. And actually they have names. I'm going to give them names. So you are Gelm, and you are Tizar. Perfect. All right. So they are hanging out in that room. So if I have something to, you can drop treasure in there if you want, but I don't see the point in doing that. Frostmaiden's fire, that's up here. There's some lighting effects I can put here, but I don't. Let's do that just to show what it's like. So a kind of cool thing that comes out of the VTT space is the ability to add lighting here. And it's a local light. You can do different things like give it effects, dim it, light animation type. You can animate it. So I'm going to give it a chroma effect, update light source, and actually I'm going to give transition to darkness. So when I put a player back here, out here in 1 second, I'll show you what the players would see as they progress through. Let's put Nim out this time. So I have a character named Nim. You can see him, he has dark vision, so that calculates some of his dark vision for him. Again, ostensibly, this seems kind of cool, but, and if you get in here, it's a little bit more light. You're probably not seeing a whole lot, though. Let me take somebody who does not have dark vision. That would be this character, Store. What's going on? Store looks like he has dark vision. Token. Vision. Dim vision. Nope. For some reason, someone gave him dim vision. He has 5, sight angle, 360, emission, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm going to update token. I give them 5 feet just because they can see things around them. Things have been revealed, but yeah. Anyway, so if they start moving through this, they can see this light here. Let me change the illumination. So let me change the effect to something that looks cool. You can see it's also blocked by walls. Light is blocked by walls, which is pretty good. Let's do sunburst. No. Mysterious emanation. And let's give it like a red color. How's that? It's supposed to be a heart. Are you playing or what, bud? So you can just see, for some reason it's not animating. That must be the plugin. Must be something wrong with the plugin. Light rotation angle. Color intensity. Pump it way up. You can see that little. Yeah, that's good. So if the characters are sitting here, what you have is this small kind of effect that permeates the entire room. It's okay. So, and if I had the character selected, this is what they would see. Yeah, this map scale is definitely off. It's reading as 5 foot squares when it should read as 10. So that's yet another thing the VTT really, the new D&D maps in the latest module, quite a few of them skew that 5 foot standard square, and they get into 10 feet. I guess it's to make bigger maps, but it just bugs the crap out of me, to be honest. It just makes it more difficult for me to run as a DM. So anyway, let me go and see if I can make this bigger. I'll have to take these monsters away. That should reset everything if I rescale it. So where are we? Effect controls, grid controls. Let me do I don't want to adjust position. Can I do just one? Yes. All right, so that's messed it up a little bit. It's not exact. You can see it's moved the light. So it's changed the scale of the entire thing to about 3 by 3. So now every square is 15 feet because by default, it wants you to draw a 3 by 3 box, and it's only given me each one's supposed to be 2. So that's a big pain in the butt. So if I do this, maybe I'll get down to like half of the other one. Yeah, I need to go through half. Yeah, and it's out, the map resolution is too small. So I'm just going to change it so the map is bigger and not use the scale that they wanted me to. All right, so I'm going to have to edit this again, get this back out there. Nope. Not what I wanted. I'll have to put another light source here. Oh no. Oh no. So what am I oh knowing? I am oh knowing the fact that all the walls that I just drew don't scale with what I just did. So yeah, if you see all the walls are still here, I'm going to delete it and redraw it before my next session. But yeah, that's bummer. So again, I'm driving home the point. I've spent 40 minutes now talking about and wrestling with this VTT. That is just not acceptable, right? So again, shot in the arm for Owlbear Rodeo. At this point, the players, I've asked them if they want to transfer. They like the dice. They're a little, they're a little leaning into it. I just want to get the game done, right? I have maybe 2 more months of the game left. So I just want to wrap it up. My next campaign, I certainly won't use Foundry. I'm certainly going to use something like Owlbear Rodeo. Yeah. That's just where I'm going to go with it. But so at the end of the day, what I want to do is just get this over with and work something out. So what's that mean for me? So let me take one more shot to see if I can measure this. And first, let me turn it to daylight so we can see a little bit better. And let me take one more shot to see if I can measure this a little bit better. 1 square is supposed to equal 10 feet. Configure by drawing a square. That means I would have to do like 1/4 of this, like that. Would that do it? It's not going to line up perfectly. Oh, this is why this crap is just so hard to do. Can I change it? Can I right click on it? No. It wants me to do 1 5-foot square, and I have to guess as to that. And I wonder how difficult it is, because the tools are the same in Roll20. I have to wonder, are they not considering virtual tabletop? But bluntly, Rime the Frostmaiden is just a big worry that way. It's really weird. Like, they do things that they just make it hard on people. Anyway, let's get this. Let me see if I can get this set up. Actually, this is probably fine enough. It's about the scale that I need to. I'm not going to spend 2 hours drawing on this. I know this must be super compelling, but looking at the pain of what it takes to actually do this is probably what we need. So another big problem is they've got grids on this map, right? If they just gave me some scale at the bottom, I could do it. But now my grid lines don't really line up with where the players are going. It causes a tremendous amount of problems. Each one of these are for humans. Now, this is a great example of where the module is just not greatly well designed. Each one of these squares is supposed to be 10 feet. These are not giants. These are like 11-foot sleeping bags. It's crazy. 12-foot sleeping bags. That's bananas, right? Because these are not giants. If I don't do it, that these dragons are not going to fit here. So the whole thing just gets to be this giant pain in the butt that I am so over. But that's the way it is. And there's everything's an odd number. It's either 1 or 3. I just can't say I can't just do it myself. So let me see. I can do. Yeah, this is the best I'm going to be able to do, I actually think. That's fine. So let me just put the monsters out here and we'll call it a day. So anyway, I don't use VTTs if you don't have to. Not these complex ones. Use one as simple as humanly possible. Theater of Mind works just fine. If you look at all the official streams from the folks at D&D, they're all using Theater of the Mind. That's interesting. I'm sure they don't want to promote anyone specifically, but they seem to be getting fine. Just fine with it. So you probably could too. All right, so C6 is the slaughterhouse. So that's the first place we run into actual Charterland Berserkers. So let me put out a few Charterland Berserkers. A nameless Charterland Berserker is sitting up here. So sitting right there. Living quarters 8. There are 3 Charlatan Berserkers in there. So Charlatan Berserker on these 12-foot gigantic Charlatan Berserker. On these 12-foot gigantic sleeping bags. Where else do we have them? An ice troll. Oh no, that's the next thing. So there's not much. There's just the 4 of them. That's actually not bad. So encounter-wise, here's what it's. They have two dragon wormlings. They have 4 Charlatan Berserkers. That's not terrible. Not terrible for a 5th level party. Oh no, that's not what I meant to do. See if I can Control Z that. No, I can't even undo what I just did. Yeah, like I said, fighting with this stuff is just too hard sometimes. Where is the grid? I think I reset the grid is what I did. Oh, but goodness. Oh, but goodness. Here's what I'll do. I'll set it up instead in configure. So what I will do is up here, distance, grid scale is 10 feet. So I'll do it 10 feet instead of 5 feet and save. And hopefully that works for me. I think that will work. So let me go back to Charlatan Berserker and put 3 up here. Why are they giant? What has happened? I don't know. I'm not going to fight with the technology. All right, that's the end of that. All right, so I think I'm going to wrap the show up a little bit early here because I'm frustrated with these tools. But there is the reality of game mastering in virtual tabletop. Like I'm gonna have to go back, re-import this map, try to figure out what's wrong with it. I've already spent an hour on this. I'm trying to keep things down to maybe an hour or 2 hours of prep for every session because I have work and I'm setting up a company and I'm doing all kinds of things. I'm trying to blog. I'll get back to blogging this week. I have an article being posted this week, an optional rule which I did a site migration of last week. So fighting with the tools is just not, there's no benefit of that. And I think that's where most of us are. It's okay to be fighting with the tools. It's okay to not use tools. That's another thing that I have been driven to like, oh, I'm going to make this great. I'm going to make it almost, I had the aspirations of making it almost video game-ish. And I was really fascinated with this ability to share. But if I had to actually say what impacts the game most, it's really like sharing files, being able to show somebody an image of a monster. So Discord is just fine for a lot of that. The next is maybe a map and a way to share dice rolls. But other than that, like its ability to add your ability score in and do work for you, I actually think that's working against us as a gaming community right now. So So as Wizards of the Coast, on the off chance, very off chance, anybody from Wizards of the Coast will ever view this, I hope what they're doing with their virtual tabletop is image sharing, the ability to roll dice without tying it to other things. Like get basic abilities, the basic things you need to do at a table. Look at each other's character sheet, point to where things are, put a map down, move some tokens around, roll dice without the complexity of systems doing things for you. That's kind of what you need. I think they should go forward with that, and that would be fantastic. And the ability to use the items I bought in their virtual tabletop, like not have to import the map myself or mess around with those things, that would be fantastic. That would be worth subscribing to. But I don't want them to get into like, I don't want to fight the system because it's adding bonuses in that actually don't work because I have a different house rule or any of those things and and it obscures all of the mechanics to the players. I don't think that's a good paradigm for hobbyists. I hope that they don't do that. But we'll have to see. I think it's supposed to come to beta in July, so I'm looking forward to it. All right, I am going to go ahead and wrap this up here today. That is it for me. Thank you very much if you're joining. Hopefully you'll be back next week. I'm not going to do a technical thing next week. I just wanted to show the pain of virtual tabletops. I usually talk about game design, so I'm going to stick to that in future sessions. But I do want to go through one to just show what this has been like for me. So thank you. I hope you'll join me. I'm at optionalrule.com online. If you check out my blog there, I've got a bunch of what I hope are hopeful things for you in your game. I tweet often as Optional Rule on Twitter. I've got an Instagram I barely use and things like that. But I hope you'll like, subscribe, share this, do all of the things. Hit me up on Twitter if you have anything, any reply to this at any time. Thank you very much for joining me today. I'll be back next week for another show. We'll do some actual honest-to-God game design and talk about some things there. Okay? So until next time, I hope you're great. You're great. You have a wonderful game. Get out there and run some great games. And remember, fun is not optional. Thanks, everybody. You take care. Let's start the music first. Love it. Take care, everybody.